What is going on, guys? This is Miasin. So today I really wanted to make a combo video and deck profile on one of my favorite decks of all time, which is Infernoid. It is the deck that allowed me to get my very first regional top of my entire life as well. So it really means a lot to me that, this deck is still getting support from Konami. And this deck is actually going to be even more relevant with the new wave of support from Terminal Revenge. So this is in anticipation with that. And also post Infinite Forbidden, because we're going to be getting the Fiendsmith engine, which is generically splashable. But in this deck, I want to say it's even better because you can benefit off of Beatrice better than practically any other deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! For a very good reason. And because, everything is Fiend, there's just like generic synergy, so it's just really nice. And the Link 2 in Fiendsmith is better in Infernoid than in any other deck, which you will see very, very soon. But yeah, before we go in any further into these combos, make sure you smash the like and subscribe button. Really motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And also huge, massive shoutouts to my sponsors, Inspire TCG as well as Dueling. Again, both links will be in the description box below. And use the coupon code YASIN656 for 5% off mats that you want to buy, or sleeves, or deck boxes. Dueling has the best, so you already know where to go if you want that. And also for cards, singles, and everything, card brawlers, go check them out. Use the coupon code YASIN5 for 5% off. Again, both links will be in the description box below. And with that being said, let's get right into combo number 1. Alright, so this one, I don't need any Infernoid cards, I don't need any Snake Eye cards. One Fiendsmith is already a very nice combo, so I'm going to be discarding it to search a Sanctum or Sanctus, and then activate it and get my token, and then link summon into Kigari, and then special summon Ray from the deck, and then revive back Ray, and then make a Beatrice in 5 summons. And then on the end phase, I will be using its effect, so Veiler doesn't do anything, because if my opponent wants to go Veiler, I can just chain Beatrice to Veiler, and Veiler can only be used on the main phase. So yeah, it's a one-card combo that inherently beats either Veiler or Mourner, just not both at the same time, unless your opponent misplays. But yeah, I'm going to be foolishing the transaction rollback, and then on the opponent's turn, I'll be going Beatrice again for the Void Feast, and then copy that, get the Infernoid Sagette as well as double Decatron, which is pretty nasty. So I'm going to be getting 2 negates here as well as a DD Crow, and that's off of one single card. And I have a follow-up because I'm, stacking up my graveyard. I got the Fiendsmith in the grave already, and I also got, what is it? I don't know if there's a link. Yeah, Sequentia. So I can also send a monster to the graveyard, which is absolutely gorgeous. And it's a really straightforward, super simple one-card combo. You don't need like a brain to do that. It's really just you make Beatrice, and then you dump 2 cards, and then you copy, and then summon 3 monsters from the deck. And then you got like a monster negate with Decatron because it copies the Deviati, and then another one copying Ononku or whatever. If you need like double Ononku, double Deviati, you can also do that. And then this is a DD Crow. So 3 interruptions off of one single card. Not too bad, but we're just getting started. Let's get into combo number 2. Alright, so this one is Diabellstar, and any Infernoid monster discard. It can literally just be anything. It doesn't matter. So discard whatever Infernoid name, and then get the original off of Diabellstar. And then pitch, summon the Snake Eye Ash, and then that's going to be searching the Decatron. And then normal summon that and send typically the high-level monster first, so Sate Semas, and then summon the Oak, and then revive back the Decatron. By the way, you really don't want to send Deviati because we're not trying to summon that. Or Sagette, because Sagette is a monster that we're trying to keep in the deck so that we can summon it off of Void Feast. So that's the reason why Sate Semas is the best monster to start foolishing early on. Anyways, revive back the Pierre Maes. And you really want to, again, send the high-level monsters first and then the low-level monsters. Otherwise, we're going to have way too many levels on the field so that we can't summon back the Sate Semas. So if we send the Sate Semas there, it would have been 8 plus 1 equals 9, which is over the maximum amount of level/ranks that we're allowed to have on effect monsters on the field, meaning that the Sate Semas can't revive itself back. I know I've already explained this, and I'm repeating myself, but it's just so that you don't make mistakes, or, you play on automated systems and you think that this combo does not work. It does work, it's just that you have to do it the same way I do. Anyways, revive back the Sate Semas by banishing the Infernoid monster that we discarded off of Diabellstar, as well as the Pierre Maes that we foolish just right now. And then link off into the baby Underworld Goddess, and then into the Requiem. Again, same thing as Nightmare Cerberus, Phoenix Goblin into Nightmare Mermaid. And then tribute that. It's a quick effect, by the way, so that's the reason why combo number 1 didn't lose to effect Veiler, because it can't get Veilered, really. You tribute it as a cost. But anyway, summon the Fiendsmith, and then get the Requiem in the spell and trap zone with its effect. And this is where Snake Eye Oak and the Snake Eye engine just synergizes so well with the Fiendsmith engine. You're getting yourself free cards that you can pitch so that you can involve your monsters. And then we got the Flamberge, link off into Sequentia. Flamberge, revive back Decatron as well as Snake Eye Ash or Oak, doesn't matter. Decatron is going to be foolishing whatever monster, but preferably a low-level monster. And then Sequentia is going to be shuffling back the Baby Underworld Goddess as well as the Requiem. Summon the Lacrimosa, and then revive back the Fiendsmith. But we're not going to be making Beatrice yet. We're going to be making IP Masquerena, and then link off IP and Sequentia for Princess. And then Princess, revive back the Flamberge, and then Flamberge plays the Masquerena in the Spell and Trap Zone. This does matter. And then we're going to be linking off the Decatron as well as the Promethean Princess into Flood, and we're going to be using the effect of Fiendsmith to return back the Sequentia from the grave into the extra deck, revive itself back, and then make the Beatrice at the very end. Again, the sequencing here is extremely relevant. If you mess up, you will not have the same end board, so don't go thinking that every path leads to Rome. I usually love to say it, but this is a very complicated hardcore combo deck. It's an extremely punishing deck, but at the same time, extremely rewarding. Anyways, Beatrice is going to be using its effects and transaction rollback, and on the next turn, you can use it again, send the Void Feast, and then copy it with the transaction rollback, summon Sajet as well as double Decatron. And this is like 9 interruptions, I believe, or 10. I don't know, it's a huge amount. I don't even have to count, but transaction rollback banishes itself from the graveyard so that you're banishing a card from the grave to trigger the flood to banish a card on the field. Doesn't target, which is extremely stupid. Like, completely ridiculous. And then we also have, you know, the double Decatrons that can copy Ononku and Deviati. So we got Spell and Trap and Monster Negates. And we got the Sajet, which is a DD Crow. And the Flamberge is also a 5 interruptions on its own, because Flamberge summons back the IP and then you link off it to SP, banish something, and then banish again. And then the Flamberge revives back the 2 Decatrons after you use their effects, and then send again even more Ononku's Deviatis, or, you know, Petulia Harmadic, the D-Crow monsters that you still have in your deck, because we're running out of Infernoids to send. Like, we're foolishing so much that everything is like pretty much in the grave and banished at this point. And we still have the on-field effect of Infernoid Flood. Well, I mean, the trigger effect. They're all trigger effects, but the effect... And actually, that's a quick effect. I'm stupid. The quick effect to negate the summon of a monster, inherent summon very specifically by triggering a monster. And we got Princess in the graveyard, which is ridiculous. There is no way you can lose with this. This is an FTK and a half, only off of Diabell Star and an Infernoid monster. And the worst part is, it gets even better, I want to say, or at least it gets cleaner. Alrighty, so combo number 3, this time I will be showing the full sequence of how you should order your interruptions. This is my personal favorite combo in the entire deck. One single Snake Eye Ash, look at what it can do. This is gorgeous to look at. So normal summon, get your Populace, and then trigger its effect. You don't need any discards, by the way, but one single card can usually win against like a full hand of like 6 cards. Anyways, get your original and then summon Decatron, Chilling 1, Chilling 2. Just for your information, by the way, this does play into Nib, but there are obviously a bunch of combos that mitigate the impact of Nib. It's just that you're not making the same board. So yeah, if you guys want, you know, a big combo video, right, with every single hand shop being played through or being played around, you already know what to do. Smash the like and subscribe button. If this video can get to 1,000 likes, I will be making a full spreadsheet. 10 combos playing around every single hand shop, so yeah, just smash the like button. Anyways, Snake Eye Ash send the Decatron, summon the Oak, and then revive back the Decatron again, Foolish again. It's crazy how it's not a hard once per turn. And then Oak, summon Flamberge, and then link off it to Baby Underworld Goddess, summon back the Decatron again off of the Flamberge, and then Foolish for Sajet. So now at this point in our graveyard, we have Sajet with Pierre Mace and Saint Semas, which is, again, somewhat important, but not that much. Anyways, link off the Underworld Goddess into Fiendsmith Requiem. It's not Underworld Goddess, it's Moon of the Close Sky, but still. Anyways, summon that, and then link off into Sequentia. Revive back the Sajet by banishing the Decatron as well as Pierre Mace, which is kind of relevant. And then Fiendsmith effect, revive back, summon itself by shuffling back the Moon of the Close Sky something. And then overlay for Beatrice, and then Beatrice effects send transaction rollback, and then Sequentia will trigger, shuffle back the Sajet as well as the Saint Semas for Infernoid Evil. So even if you don't have access to Beatrice, you can still search Vanishment into Feast. So you have infinite ways of getting access to that. And this Beatrice could also be, I mean, it could be like anything at this point. It could even be like the DDD Caesar. So it's nuts. You have you have access to like literally everything that you want to. But yeah, link off into Princess, and then get back the Flamberge, and then place the the Oak in the Spell and Trap Zone, which is still a really good interruption, because you go Flamberge, summon back the Oak, revive back the Decatron from the Banished, which gets you 1 extra negate. And then finally link off the Evil and the Princess for Flood, and then search a follow-up for next turn. which is going to be the barrier, because the Beatrice can already send the Void Feast and roll back and everything. But if we wanted to, we could have went for a Caesar instead. But I only wanted to showcase the one card combo because if you make a Caesar, then the Sagette cannot be shuffled back. And then, you know, you don't, it's not the exact same. So that's the reason why I'm not showing it that way. But anyways, on our opponent's draw phase or standby, send the Feast. We don't have to use the effect right away because we want to keep the banishing effect off of rollback to banish a card our opponent controls with the Infernoid Flood. So our opponent will summon the Diabellstar. I can negate the summon, and then also chain Flamberge, summon back the Ogre. You don't have to chain, but whatever, might as well. And then summon back the Decatron, and I'm gonna be going effect, so send either Onunku or Deviati from my deck to the grave. I can negate triple Tactic Talents, and then I can also at any moment go roll back, summon back Sagette, and double Decatron from the deck. And since a card was banished from my graveyard, Flood can trigger, banish a card on the field, which is insane, and again, does a target. And my Decatrons can send an Onunku and Deviati again, so I have even more negates. Normal summon Snake Eye Ash, how about no, negate that shit. And then activate Bonfire, also how about no, negate again. And then I'm gonna be getting even more Decatrons because Flamberge just died. And then I can get even more negates and even more DD Crows. And I still have Princess in my grave. And my opponent literally has 0 cards in hand. And the Wanted can't even draw a card because everything is in the back. I mean, that doesn't matter. But I mean, the original doesn't even have anything to send off, like, to the graveyard. So there's just 0 way you can lose this game. This is absolutely beautiful. Again, off of one single card with no discards, and you don't really have to play any undesirable cards for that, other than like Transaction Rollback and I guess the Infernoid monsters. Good old bricks of the Infernoids all being bricks in Infernoid, just like Blue Eyes is a brick in Blue Eyes and Cyber Dragon is a brick in Cyber Dragon. But anyways, with that being said, let's get into the deck profile. Alrighty, so for the deck list, first of all, I'm playing a bunch of Infernoid names, so double Onunku, double Deviati. You want to have at least 2 in the deck so that you can always resolve either Void Imagination or your Feast into double Decatron. And then also when Flamberge dies, you can revive back again so that you never run out of negates. But these cards are overall just, you know, necessary in order to apply pressure against your opponent. One Setsemas, I think 1 should be enough because you can recycle it back with Void Barrier anyway, so it's not the end of the world. So yeah, you don't need a Tundel. That card is honestly useless. And also, a Tundel's effect is worse than Setsemas' effect. So it's a strict downgrade. Sagette's effect is absolute dog shit, but its level is extremely good. It's level 6. So not only can you make Beatrice with it, but also the main reason is because 6 + 1 + 1 equals 8 for Void Feast. So it's the only configuration that allows you to summon double Decatron, which is the main reason why people are typically playing Sagette. And for the love of God, do not play multiple copies of this card. It is a brick and a half, and if you draw it, it's fine because you can shuffle it back into the deck with Sequentia. So sorry, I almost died there. I'm a little bit sick, but there's basically just no drawback of drawing any of the Infernoid names. None of them are Garnets, they're just like Taketumborg-esque bricks. Anyways, the baby Infernoids, which are all, they're just cards that you play, but they don't necessarily you don't really need them in the combo. Petroleus 4, you can destroy any spell or trap card on the spell or trap on the field with it, including your own field. So if you draw Transaction Rollback, one thing that you can do is you go Petrolia, destroy it, if you have no ways of discarding cards. So that's always a nice combo. Harmadic, you can destroy any monster on the field, that's pretty good. And then Antra, you can bounce back any face-up card your opponent controls. But none of these monsters can attack during the turn they use their effects. Actually, Antra can attack, but it has 0 attack, so it doesn't matter. And then Pierre Mace, you can target one set card on the field, shuffle it back into the deck. Set card, you know, so that includes set monsters, which sometimes might come up. The card that's being targeted cannot be chained in response to Pierre Mace, so sometimes just summoning Pierre Mace forces out a lot of cards from your opponent. And we're also playing Void Barrier because this card is searchable and it allows us to either recycle back or banish Infernoids, or special summon an Inferno from the hand by ignoring the summoning conditions. And the effect is not negated, so you can go activate Barrier and then special summon an Onunku from the hand with it, and then destroy every monster on the field. And if your opponent goes like Imperm, we can negate that. And if your opponent has multiple Imperms, it's not gonna matter because, you know, Onunku tributes itself as he cost. So it's really nasty. Very good combination of cards, you know, when you draw like Void Barrier, plus an Infernoid and like Snake Eye Ash or Diabellstar, there is just absolutely no way you lose. It's really good going first and second, I want to say. This card makes it so that if you draw bricks, they're no longer bricks, and that's the reason why I really like Void Barrier. Anyways, triple Decatron, I mean, that's self-explanatory. I can kind of see a world in which you might want to play 2 instead, but I don't really think so. If you do that, then Sagette is less good because it means that if you draw a Decatron now, then Decatron becomes a brick and you gotta go like Decatron, Petrolia, and Harmadic. So 1, 3, 4. or Decatron and State Sema, so 1 and 7. For the Snake Eye monsters, triple Ash, double Pop, 1 Oak, 1 Flamberge, and the original, that's very straightforward. And triple Witch, triple Bonfire, triple Wanted, also very self-explanatory. For the Fiendsmith engine, it's really just 3 Fiendsmith and 1 Sanctus. No Fabled Lurie, and no the Fiendsmith something, the normal spell card. You don't need that. It's just more bricks, more ways to lose the Droll for no good reason. I don't really think any of that is necessary in this deck, honestly. And then, yeah, 1 for 1, Instant Fusion, Call by the Grave, the cheat, unfair one-ofs. If you draw any of these cards, I mean, especially 1 for 1 and Instant Fusion in this deck, it's like, oh my god, it's unfair. Instant Fusion for Evil, and then you go into Anima and then search, like, anything that you want with Evil, or 1 for 1 into either Decatron or Snake Eye Ash. It's either a 1-card OTK or 1 card that makes you play through hand shops, and then Call by the Grave either mitigates the impact of Ogre on Vanishment, which is the reason, by the way, why I only play 1. It's because Ogre is annoying. Same thing with Void Barrier. Otherwise, if Ogre was not a thing, I'd probably play more Vanishments and more Barrier, but also Ash on Void Feast hurts a lot. Double Void Imagination, and finally Void Feast as well as Transaction Rollback. Void Imagination, you can play anywhere between 0 to 3 copies. Shockingly enough, in the main deck, I think any ratio is acceptable, but in the side deck, you need, like, definitely, at the very least, like, 3 copies in between the main and or side at this point. So if you main 0, you need 3 in the side deck, because this card's pretty much Shaddoll Fusion going second. Going first, though, it doesn't really do much of anything, so I understand. But I would still play a few copies of Void Imagination, because even if it has no effect, the fact that it's a continuous spell makes it so that your Snake Eye monsters can evolve into the other ones. So sometimes you brick and you have, let's say, Imagination and Snake Eye Oak, and it still kind of gets you somewhere, which is not too bad. For the extra deck, I play Infernoid Tiara for the Imagination, but you can also summon Infernoid Evil going second. Not a lot of monsters that I can send with Tiara, so honestly, there's a world in which I might just cut this card and main deck the Caesar instead. So yeah, you know what? You can actually do that if you really want to. It's 100% doable. Anyways, Beatrice for obvious reasons, because of Void Feast and Transaction Rollback. Zelantis as well as Raging Phoenix for the OTK. Hita, I don't have the space for Dark, unfortunately. The extra deck space is super tight. I relinquished Anima for obvious reasons. SP Lodo Knight as well as IP. This is usually for making half boards. All of these cards right here are for going second. So Anima, Hita, Raging Phoenix, Zelantis. And then SP and IP are when you get a hand shop and you have to settle on a little less, or when you're trying to mitigate the impact of hand shops. And then, you know, for the going first combo piece cards are Infernoid Flood, Promethean Princess, Moon of the Close Sky, Fiendsmith Sequentia, Fiendsmith Requiem, Fiendsmith Lacrimosa, and Evil. I showcase combos with every single one of these cards, so there is not really much I have to keep clarifying at this point. And finally, for the idea section, I really don't have to explain Tiara, but yeah, the cards that you could potentially send with it would be Elder Entity Entis and Golden Cloud Beast Malong. Even better if you want to play Ultimate Slayer, then it gives you a lot of nice options. So you can send, like, I don't know, Link monsters, you could send, like, the Fiendsmith monsters so that you have fuel for Lacrimosa and stuff like that, so it's not too bad. Salaman Great Sunlight Wolf is not really good, I would stay away from that. And then more copies of Vanishment Barrier, I'll explain that. Lightning Storm with the Herald of the Abyss, Dark Ruler, and the Triple Tactic Talent, because they're all search cards, targets for Thrust. And, you know, the trap cards, you have D-Bearer, Karma Cannon, and Black Goat Lavs. This one's really good because you can also Foolish it with Beatrice. So sometimes when you already have one of these 2 cards, the Beatrice, it only has, like, 1 relevant card to send, and the second one can be Black Goat Laughs. And then, yeah, more copies of Void Imagination, as well as Forbidden Joblin, which is probably one of the best board breakers that you can play in Infernoid, if not the best, I mean, obviously the best, with Thrust and stuff like that. So yeah, this deck cannot play hand shops in case it wasn't obvious enough. You don't want to play 60 cards. That Grass Looks Greener is banned in the TCG. Lawn Mowing Next Door, yes, I'm an OG. And you don't want to play like 43 with way less Infernoid names and like 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Imperm, 3 Mourner and stuff like that. This is not the kind of deck for that, because otherwise you're going to start bricking and you're going to draw hands of like 3 hand shops with 2 Infernoid names and 1 dead card that just doesn't do anything, and those hands can never play. So yeah, you just need to rely on gas and just outplaying your opponent and blitzkrieging through your opponent's boards with this deck. This is something that you can do, honestly, with Infernoid, especially when you got cheat cards like Void Imagination going second. This is unfair if it resolves. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.